Use every, not each in this case. In the world of technology, precision is not just a preference, it's a fundamental requirement. The logic that builds our digital world is unforgiving, where a single misplaced character can cause a system-wide failure. This same demand for precision extends to the language we use to collaborate. Communication, especially in technical fields, is a tool that must be wielded with expert care. The words we choose can either build bridges of understanding or create chasms of confusion. This is why the subtle distinction between two common words, each and every, deserves our full attention. Nowhere is this need for linguistic precision more critical than in a code review. This collaborative process is the crucible where raw code is refined into reliable software. Here, a comment or suggestion is not merely text. It is a direct instruction that guides a project's development. A simple misunderstanding of a word like each or every can lead a developer down the wrong path, wasting valuable time and potentially introducing new bugs. This isn't just about grammar. It is about ensuring shared understanding, which is the very bedrock of effective teamwork. To navigate this, let's think of each and every as specialized instruments in a linguistic toolkit. They may seem similar, but their functions are distinctly different and should not be used interchangeably. Each is like a fine-tipped probe, designed to examine individual components one by one, appreciating their uniqueness. Every, in contrast, is like a wide-spectrum scanner, applying a single, uniform assessment to an entire collection of items. Understanding which tool to select for the job at hand is the first and most crucial step toward communicating with clarity and authority. Let us first isolate the function of each. This word elegantly singles out members of a group, prompting us to consider them individually and sequentially. When a code reviewer says, "Address each of these performance warnings," they are instructing a developer to give separate, focused attention to every warning. The implication is that the solution for one might be different from the solution for another. It emphasizes individuality and a step-by-step process of consideration. Each is the perfect word when the items in question are distinct and require separate handling or thought. Now, let's turn our attention to the powerful scope of every. This word functions as a declaration of unity, treating all members of a group as a single, indivisible whole. It makes a universal statement that applies without exception. If a technical lead states, "Every module must pass this security scan," the focus shifts from the individual modules to the total, uncompromising compliance of the entire set. The instruction is not to consider them one by one, but to enforce a single rule across the whole system. Every conveys totality and uniformity. The potential for confusion arises when these two distinct tools are misused. Imagine the feedback. Optimize each function in this file. This suggests a tailored, function-by-function optimization process. Now contrast this with optimize every function in this file. This could be interpreted as applying one single, overarching optimization strategy to all of them, perhaps a new compiler flag. One points to individual, careful work, while the other points to a broad systemic change. The choice of word fundamentally alters the nature and scope of the engineering task being requested. This brings us to our core scenario, a case where every is the only correct choice. Consider this critical code review comment. Ensure every database transaction is atomic. In this context, using every is paramount. It conveys an absolute, system-wide mandate for data integrity. There can be no exceptions. The property of atomicity must apply universally to all transactions to prevent corruption. Using each here would be dangerously ambiguous, as it could subtly imply that transactions are to be considered individually, potentially missing the point of total, systemic consistency. The impact of this precision is immediate and profound. When a developer sees the word every in that comment, the instruction is crystal clear, leaving no room for misinterpretation. They understand the requirement is a blanket rule, a fundamental architectural principle that must be enforced universally. This clarity preempts clarifying questions, accelerates the development process, and dramatically reduces the risk of creating a flawed, inconsistent system. Ultimately, this precise communication leads to more robust software and a more efficient, synchronized team, building a cycle of trust and quality. This specific example of each versus every illuminates a much broader truth about working in technology. Your ability to communicate with precision is just as vital as your ability to code. Ambiguity is the silent antagonist of progress, creating friction, rework, and bugs. The words you choose in a pull request, a design document, or a team chat are the scaffolding upon which shared understanding is built. By mastering these subtle but significant nuances of language, you elevate your contribution from merely writing code to architecting clarity and fostering true collaboration. Therefore, commit to being a craftsman of language as well as code. Before you next communicate a technical instruction, pause and ask yourself what you truly mean. Are you referring to the individual components, needing each one to be considered on its own? Or are you referring to the collective whole, needing every one to conform to a universal rule? This conscious choice will sharpen your feedback, empower your colleagues, and amplify your impact within any technical team. Speak with precision to build with excellence.